quite obviously, surreptitiously passing around USB ports as if they're vials of heroin.
In one of the videos we just watched, Mr. Giuliani accused you and your mother of passing some sort of USB drive to each other. What was your mom actually handing you on that video?
A ginger mint.
That is just disgusting. They call January 6th a fight for the Constitution, but the evidence shows that that was a lie. Today, we're reacting to the official January 6th evidence video showing exactly how Trump's inner circle knew the election wasn't stolen. But more importantly, we're talking about how that exact same pattern connects to the massive Trump slush fund that a federal judge just stepped in to freeze today. Thank God. This is the official January 6th committee's final public meeting that was released about 3 years ago. I know a lot of people probably missed this. This is a lot of evidence, y'all, that they put out and that they found surrounding the whole January 6th situation, including under oath testimony and just people admitting that they knew that they were lying about the January 6th situation, lying about the whole election being stolen. So let's get into it.
Over the course of the last year and a half, we presented evidence in 10 public hearings, testimony from our brave law enforcement officers, senior White House, and campaign officials, and many others. Today, we are prepared to share our findings with you. But before we do so, it's important to remember what we've learned, and critically, exactly what happened at the United States Capitol on January 6th. Without objection, I include in the record a video presentation of some of the key evidence our investigation has uncovered.
There were officers on the ground. They were bleeding. They were throwing up. I mean, I saw friends with blood all over their faces. I was slipping in people's blood.
As I was swarmed by a violent mob, they ripped off my badge. They grabbed and stripped me of my radio. They seized ammunition that was secured to my body. They began to beat me with their fists and with what felt like hard metal objects.
And Donald Trump is trying to tell us that these people deserve $1.7 billion or access to that $1.7 billion. This is the argument that he's trying to place in front of the American people right before midterms. This dude is playing right in the middle of our face. He's supposed to be the candidate of Back the Blue. He's supposed to be the candidate backing these police officers up after they've been attacked. This is crazy.
The key thing to do is to claim victory. No, we won. Fuck you. Sorry, over. We won. Yeah. You're wrong. Fuck you.
This is Roger Stone,
Right.
former campaign head for Donald Trump, especially in his first administration, his first 4 years.
To the box on election night, the president.
And this is Bill Barr, Trump's attorney general at the time of his first administration.
Claimed that there was major fraud underway. I mean, this happened, as far as I could tell, before there was actually any potential of looking at evidence.
I didn't think what was happening was necessarily honest or professional at that point in time. So yeah, that led to me stepping away.
Generally discussed on that topic was whether the fraud, maladministration, abuse, or irregularities, if aggregated and read most favorably to the campaign, would that be outcome determinative? I think everyone's assessment in the room, at least amongst the staff, Mark Short, myself, and Greg Jacob, was that it was not sufficient to be outcome determinative.
I told him that I did believe, yes, that once those legal processes were run, if fraud had not been established, that had affected the outcome of the election, then unfortunately, I believed that what had to be done was to see the outcome.
What were the chances of President Trump winning the election?
After that point?
Yes.
None.
Oh, okay, now this is audio recordings of Donald Trump actually pressuring other state officials to find him votes and overturn the election. This was presented in the actual congressional committee for January 6th. A lot of people missed this. I'm just gonna put that out there.
What are we gonna do here? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
The numbers are the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
He only needs 11,000 votes. Any other president asking a Secretary of State to do something like this. Come on now.
Many allegations, and we investigated every single one of them.
Did one of them make a comment that they didn't have evidence, but they had a lot of theories?
That was Mr. Giuliani.
And what exactly did he say, and how'd that come up?
My recollection, he said, we've got lots of theories, we just don't have the evidence.
I think this is the Secretary of State of Arizona, I believe. I don't remember his name. He's a Republican, but he was very against, the stuff that Giuliani and Trump was trying to do around January 6th when it comes to presenting false electors and sending those false electors to the White House and to Congress. And he was completely against that mess.
You're asking me to do something that's never been done in history, the history of the United States, and I'm going to put my state through that without sufficient proof?
There's a tape earlier in the day of Ruby Freeman and Shay Freeman Morris and one other gentleman.
And I just want to say, throughout this whole situation, pay very close attention to how Giuliani moves and how he talks about things, because he is a lawyer and he knows that what he is doing is over the line when it comes to trying to keep things legal. He knows that this is something that is going to test the limits of our democracy, and he still chose to go through with it. Just pay very close attention to how this guy moves.
Quite obviously, surreptitiously passing around USB ports as if they're vials of heroin or cocaine.
In one of the videos we just watched, Mr. Giuliani accused you and your mother of passing some sort of USB drive to each other. What was your mom actually handing you on that video?
A ginger mint.
That is just disgusting. Giuliani and Donald Trump spread the false claim that these women put out or counted fake votes, or that they put in extra votes on the tabulations. And they put that fake news out there and ruined these Black women's lives based off of a lie around an election that he didn't win. I just have to reiterate this just real quick. The President of the United States spread a lie just off the simple fact that he wanted people to think that he had a possibility of winning an election that he knew he did not win. You can't call this president a good man if he's doing stuff like this and he knows that this is a lie or that it's based on shaky information. Giuliani got sued for coming after these women, and thank God that they won that lawsuit.
Do you know how it feels to have the President of the United States to target you? The President of the United States is supposed to represent every American, not to target one.
That is just disgusting for a U.S. president to just attack these women for passing a stick of gum to eat. We have to really look at the entirety of what these guys are doing. They're using the world's biggest platform, Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, X, and they're using that as a platform to spread false information on a large scale. You can't deny that. That's exactly how they ruined their lives. This is crazy.
I made it clear I did not agree with the idea of saying the election was stolen and putting out this stuff, which I told the president was bullshit.
He wanted to talk about that he thought the election had been stolen or was corrupt, and that there was widespread fraud. And I had told him that our reviews had not shown that to be the case.
And I said something to the effect of, sir, we've done dozens of investigations, hundreds of interviews. The major allegations are not supported by the evidence developed.
Well, my first thought was, this is a terrible idea. Jeff Clark cannot be installed as acting Attorney General of the United States.
You ultimately told us that you described this meeting as a...
It's funny how we're technically in the same exact situation right now. We got this guy that's Attorney General right now, Blanche, and he's Trump's former lawyer. He's now the Attorney General leading the entire Justice Department, and the only credential that he has is being Trump's former lawyer. It's insanity.
At this meeting, the Georgia letter that was proposed as an effing murder-suicide pact. Do you remember using the term murder-suicide pact?
Yes.
Was it your impression that the vice president had directly conveyed his position on these issues to the president, not just to the world through a dear colleague letter, but directly to President Trump?
many times.
And this is a very interesting fact that Trump was going after Mike Pence. He had steered this entire January 6th crowd into hating Mike Pence just with a couple tweets. This is how powerful that Elon Musk platform is. And until Democrats and the larger party apparatus realizes that this social media machine that Elon Musk and the MAGA movement has right now, you will have to meet them where the battleground is.
It was the vice president didn't have the legal.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying is that Trump was going after the vice president because he needed the vice president to certify his false electors. And that is the problem that we're running into here, is that Pence wasn't going to certify any false electors. That was literally overturning an election. And he was not going to break the Constitution for Trump. But Trump needed Pence to break the Constitution for him to stay in the White House.
Hard. You ain't said what he did.
And I said, hold on a second, I want to understand what you're saying. You're saying that you believe the vice president, acting as president of the Senate, can be the sole decision maker as to, under your theory, who becomes the next president of the United States? And you said yes. And I said, are you out of your effing mind?
I don't know what you call a wannabe dictator or a person that wants to subvert democracy, but that is a prime example, asking your vice president to essentially decide an election for you, even though you know you lost. Everybody around you is telling you that you lost, but you still choose to break the Constitution.
I said, are you out of your effing mind?
The president was, all the attention was on what Mike would do or what Mike wouldn't do.
There's a telephone conversation between the president and the vice president. Is that correct?
Yes.
The conversation was pretty heated.
Apologize for being impolite, but do you remember what she said her father called?
The P word. It was clear that it was escalating quickly. So that
there's no coincidence why January 6ers were out there chanting to do this to the vice president. There's no coincidence here. It's because Trump wanted them to do that. I mean, I don't understand how anybody can just say that, this was some type of FBI, PSYOP, CIA, PSYOP, or Trump. You can track the tweets that Trump was putting out around this time. And it was all being very critical of Mike Pence. And this crowd caught wind of that.
When that tweet, the Mike Pence tweet, was sent out, I remember us saying that was the last thing that needed to be tweeted at that moment. It felt like he was pouring gasoline on the fire by tweeting that.
Gained access to the second floor, and I've got coverage about 5 feet from me down here below.
They're on the second floor, moving in now. We may want to consider getting out or leaving now. Copy.
Members of the BPT tell at this time were starting to fear for their own lives. There were calls to say goodbye to family members, so on and so forth.
Approximately 40 feet. That's all there was. 40 feet between the vice president and the mob.
That is crazy that this mob got so close to our vice president. Whether you agree with him or not, politically or anything like that, for this to be the most powerful country in the world and for a unhinged mob that is believing the lies of a cult leader, this allowed them to break into the Capitol and get that close to our vice president, the very same person that they were just chanting to do illicit things to. This is not a coincidence. This was not This just didn't happen by happenstance. Trump set this rally up. Trump asked all of these people to go to the Capitol. That speech at the ellipse, if he asked those people to not go to the Capitol, you think they really would have went? No, this is what I'm saying. The president incited this situation. He certainly didn't do anything to hinder it.
Donald Trump and his allies and supporters are a clear and present danger to American democracy.
We got derogatory information through OSINT suggesting that some very, very violent individuals were organizing to come to D.C.
As Mr. Giuliani and I were walking to his vehicles that evening, he looked at me and said something to the effect of, Cass, are you excited for the 6th? It's going to be a great day. I remember looking at him and saying, Rudy, do you explain what's happening on the 6th? He had responded something to the effect of, we're going to the Capitol. It's going to be great. The president's going to be there. He's going to look powerful.
These people are telling you, Giuliani himself is telling you that they were expecting all of this stuff to happen. They knew that if they invited all of these unhinged cultists to the White House, to the ellipse, and then to Congress, to the Capitol, that something big was going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. There's a reason why Trump waited hours before he decided to do anything.
He personally asked for us to come to D.C. that day. And I thought, for everything he's done for us, if this is the only thing he's going to ask of me, I'll do it.
Well, basically, the president, got everybody riled up, told everybody to head on down. So we basically were just following what he said.
Within 15 minutes of
That was police body cam, by the way. That was not any random person's cell phone footage. That was police body cam of police being attacked by Trump supporters.
Within 15 minutes of leaving the stage, President Trump knew that the Capitol was besieged and under attack.
So are you aware of any phone call by the President of the United States to the Secretary of Defense that day?
Not that I'm aware.
Are you aware of any phone call by the President of the United States to the Secretary of Homeland Security that day?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Did you ever hear the the president
No.
ask for the national?
No.
This proves that Trump didn't make an attempt to call anybody, to use his position to protect any lives, to make sure that everybody came out of that situation safe, to make sure that police officers came out of that situation safe. He didn't care. He didn't care about his vice president. That's why he wasn't his running mate the second time around. And Trump had the authority to call the National Guard, by the way. As you can tell by his second term, when he's calling the National Guard wherever he wants, apparently.
If the president asked for a law enforcement response.
No.
You got an assault going on the Capitol of the United States of America. And there's nothing. No call, nothing, zero.
I remember Pat saying something to the effect of, Mark, we need to do something more. They're literally calling for the vice president to be effing hung. And Mark had responded something to the effect of, you heard him, Pat. He thinks Mike deserves it. He doesn't think they're doing anything.
Wow, that's crazy. This president literally said that he thinks his vice president deserves it. This president is unfit to be sitting in that building. Completely unfit.
Staff did not want people to leave the Capitol.
On the staff?
In the White House.
I can't think of anybody, on that day who didn't want people to get out of the Capitol particularly unless the violence started. No. I mean,
what about the president?
Yeah.
Well, she said the staff, so I answered.
I said in the White House.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought you said who else on the staff.
Come on, answer.
Yeah, I can't reveal communications, but obviously I think,
Come on now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Look, I said, good, John. Now I'm going to give you the best free legal advice you're ever getting in your life. Get a great effing criminal defense lawyer. You're going to need it.
General Flynn, do you believe in the peaceful transition of power in the United States of America?
These are conversations in the White House where they're saying get a great criminal defense lawyer because you're going to need it. That's crazy. I know there's been like some corruption in White Houses, but to this level where we're trying to overturn an election that's already been won by your opponent, that's like next level dictator type situation right there.
America?
You got another officer unconscious. The terrorist.
But Donald Trump wants to pay these people for doing this to police officers, doing this to law enforcement. He wants to pay these people reparations. And I'm going to continue to call these things reparations, even though Trump is pulling all these funds into a slush fund, so it's not being paid out to the government. I understand that part, but Trump is literally using this lawsuit with the IRS to get this slush fund and pay out reparations to these people that attack police officers. This is disgusting.
What's that?
That wasn't people being let in at all.
I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
This dude is such a big baby that he refuses to admit that the election was over, even though everybody knows that the election is over. I don't understand how so many stand-up people, good, honest to God people, can be fooled by the mess that this guy puts out there. This guy has no backbone. He's a narcissist. He's freaking filling his he's using this opportunity to completely fill his pockets. He's gained wealth the quickest out of any other president over the past 3 months. He's increased his wealth up to like $4 billion max. I need people to understand that this guy is not a good guy. This guy and the people around him are a cult full of liars, and none of them should see any office in government once this guy's out. Once these midterms hit, once we get the people we want in office, I don't want to see MAGA anywhere represented anywhere in politics ever again. After all of this corruption, after all of this hypocrisy, nah, I'm good on that. But yeah, let me wrap this video up. It's gotten long enough. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I hope y'all like, follow, and subscribe, and continue to engage with my content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.